So, what do you do on a grimy February afternoon in Lancashire when it's cold enough to send any brass monkeys hanging around into hiding and miserable enough to make a local historian smile? You go in search of some bloody stupid Packhorse Bridge allegedly built by fairies and in the process get covered in more mud than some Glastonbury pothead searching for his contact lenses. That's what. And where best to start such a stupid adventure? Well, we headed for Chatburn in the Ribble Valley because, to be honest, we needed the bog. Like our bladders, Chatburn dates back to medieval times, its name meaning Chad's Stream, apparently. Said stream, presumably, being the one which courses through the middle of the village. The bridge over which was first mentioned in documents in 1684, but according to whatever source this information was dredged up from, almost certainly dates back further. Chatburn Post Office was blown up on October 30th, 1940 when 2 bombs were dropped on it. We're not entirely sure what the Germans had against Chatburn Post Office in particular, but 3 people were killed and 5 people were injured as a result. The steeple on Chatburn Church, aka the uninventively named Christ Church, was struck by lightning in 1854, but was rebuilt uneventfully as far as actually interesting tidbits of history are concerned a few months later. On the road between Chatburn and Worsden in 1778, some workmen found an urn containing over 1,000 silver Roman denarii and a bronze lamp, the latter of which completely and utterly failed, to the best of our knowledge, to produce a genie. And that's about it as far as Chatburn's history is concerned. We emptied our bladders courtesy of the public restrooms, ate an egg butty behind the library and left in search of folklore, ancient mysteries and potentially a dry, warm pub. Our first port of call proper was the not too distant Downham, where the directions to a whoop, that's the collective noun for limestone knolls, enigmatically called the Fairy Rocks, which we'd copied off the internet and felt certain was connected to the Fairy Bridge in some fashion, failed to match in any way whatsoever with reality. To the best of our knowledge, there are no photographs of said knolls anywhere in existence. The directions we transcribed from the website began turn right at the Asherton Arms, which, depending on the direction of your approach, could mean absolutely bloody anything. So after roughly 1 rain-soaked hour, wandering aimlessly around in antique circles, we gave up on the Fairy Rocks and headed off for Worsaw Hill instead. Worsaw End Farm, which stands at the base of the aforementioned Worsaw Hill, doubled as Bostock's farm in the 1940s film Nepotism, Whistle Down the Wind, written for Hayley Mills by her considerate mother. The making of said film is the only significant event to have taken place in the district since the last Ice Age. The film co-stars Bernard Lee, sober for once, and Alan Bates, the latter of which portraying a serial-killing Jesus hiding in the barn. No fairies were involved. However, we were more intrigued by the Bronze Age barrow on the summit of the limestone pudding of Worsaw Hill. Unfortunately, the only routes up there were random churned up sheep tracks, thick with mud and the sort of steepness that would require the ability to defy the laws of physics to climb. According to the Ramblers website that we'd plumbed for information, the walls around the base of Worsaw Hill suffer from crinoids. You can get a cream from the doctors for that. Apparently there's also an interesting cave on the lower slopes, which, as it turned out, wasn't actually a cave, or very interesting either. The possibility of hoisting Jeannie Mackintosh up this vertiginous 750-foot mound without a funicular railway was slimmer than Callista Flockhart's leg warmers, so we were forced to abandon our original plan head back through Downham Village and up towards Rimmington, and finally take the public footpath to the ferry bridge. There was mud en route, acres of it. Somebody had tried to create a causeway across the gelatinous slick by chucking bits of wood onto the surface. It hadn't worked. Jeannie McIntosh's Zimmer was soon consumed by the mire, and her knees were screaming out in such agony that several wood pigeons in the nearby copse died of fright. By the time we'd passed beneath the railway bridge and reached our destination, we resembled some sort of badly made 1960s Doctor Who mud monsters. Swanside Bridge is actually an old Packhorse Bridge crossing Swanside Beck. It's commonly believed to have been built by the monks of Sawley Abbey in the 16th century, and stands on what was once known as the Monks Road. There's a Roman road nearby. We couldn't be bothered looking for it. We prefer the folktale version of its origins, where it was built one night long ago by the fairies who were helping a woodcutter escape from some witches. That sounds more credible to us. Of course, it wouldn't be a proper Packhorse Bridge if I didn't run across it dangerously while filming at the same time, which is what I did and miraculously survived. At this point it started to rain even more heavily. Satisfied that we'd at least achieved one objective from the day, we headed home, passing what on later reflection were almost certainly the missing fairy rocks and completely failing to film them in the process. On the outskirts of Great Eccleston, almost within reach of the Farmer's Arms, we ran out of petrol. I haven't heard that one for a long time. Jeannie McIntosh was forced to walk to Cumbria with my empty flask in order to locate the nearest petrol station that was open. I wouldn't mind, but the following day, contrary to the Met Office's forecast, it was sunny with blue skies. Seriously, you'd be better off using a pine cone.